Hey guys, Shane here. Real quick before we get started on this week's video, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Do check to make sure you haven't been unsubscribed by YouTube, because it seems that that's been a thing recently, according to a couple of people who've reached out. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. Now, on to the video. Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Trains with Shane YouTube channel. This is not a Will It Run video, believe it or not. I've been doing some thinking lately, which scares me too. So, most of you, probably 90% of you guys, are aware of the existence of DCC and sound locomotives. And either you love them, or you've never used them, or you hate them. And for me, it's kind of complicated for a couple of reasons. The first DCC and sound locomotive I ever bought, and I still have, is HO scale. And it was a U30C made by Rivarossi, and it had a Loc Sound Select decoder in it in Burlington Northern colors. Wow, it's weird that I still remember that. I haven't touched that locomotive in probably 8 years, and it's in storage. So I've got some experience with DCC and sound in HO scale, and I liked it. I loved it. I mean, what's not to like? You know, the train not only moves like a train, it sounds like a train while it's doing it. You can hit the horn, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. It's great. I love DCC and sound. DCC and sound in N scale sucks. And let me tell you why. If you take the shell off of an HO scale locomotive, typically there's a ton of free space in there. Okay. Plenty of space for a nice big speaker, plenty of space for electronics, wiring, lighting, you name it. When you take the shell off of an N scale locomotive, what you do not have is plenty of space for virtually anything. And therein lies the crux of most of the problem. So in HO scale, you've got enough room for an HO scale decoder to have some type of capacitor bank, or a keep alive, as a lot of people call it. Basically, that overcomes any really minuscule interruptions in track power, which could be as simple as dirty track, or it could be a 4-axle unit going through a switch point where maybe the frog isn't powered and the length of the unit is such to where it might just need a half a second or so to keep going to get contact again back on both rails. You don't have enough space in an N-scale locomotive to put any kind of keep alive or capacitor bank. That being said, there are some manufacturers out there that are trying. I know for a fact that Iowa Scale Engineering, the folks who make the proto throttle, make a keep alive. It's basically a flat pack of small capacitors that you solder in, and I think it is only for Loc Sound, but it's supposed to help overcome that, and I'll bet that it works. I own one, and I haven't found anyone to install it for me yet. Mostly because in order to do that, often as in the case with regular speaker installs, a little bit of clever machining work, light machining work, and I say that it's not like you're necessarily chucking it into a $100,000 CNC and doing that kind of machine work. You could do this with a Dremel or a file or any number of hand tools, as long as you're careful about what you're doing. But that has to be done if you're going to even try to add one of these capacitor banks. I think that a couple of manufacturers, Loc Sound may be among them. I know that Broadway Limited with Paragon 4 claims that they have this type of thing built in to their Paragon 4 DCC and sound controllers. That being said, I have a Paragon 4 switcher, one of their NW2s, and it exhibits all of the same stuttering and crappy characteristics that sound decoders in N-scale suffer from. Now, that isn't to say that they don't work. They work a lot of the time. I've seen people run DCC and sound in N-scale with great success. I just can't find the right mix to make it work for me. A lot of locomotives that I have run pretty well. I think a very small handful, and we're talking 2 or 3 individuals, run and have ran without problems ever. Most of them are kind of hit and miss, and it doesn't matter what manufacturer, whether it's Bachmann, which is the case of this one right here, Atlas Gold with their Loc Sound 5 micros, Broadway Limited with their Paragon line. I know with Bachmann, there's been a mix of sound manufacturers, I think, Econami, and a couple of others maybe. But it's not something that is just one manufacturer's sound decoder being junk over all others. They all suffer from it due to the nature of the lack of availability of space to put these kind of capacitance in. And I hate that. And I know that it's something that is always being looked at by decoder manufacturers. Like I said, Broadway Limited claims to be working on that with their Paragon 4 having built-in capacitors. Loc Sound, Iowa Scale Engineering is doing it on their own, which may actually be the best solution, although if I can ever find someone to put one of their keep-alives in a locomotive for me, I'll let you guys know how that turns out. The 1 or 2 scant videos that I found on YouTube seem to be pretty cool, but that requires skills to install that I don't possess. I have the soldering skills of a toddler. So N-scale DCC, if any of that requires soldering, I'm out. I can't do it. I'll end up smoking the decoder or something. So even if you buy a factory unit with DCC and sound installed, they tend to suffer from the same problems. Like I said, that one Broadway Limited that I bought, that you guys haven't even seen on the channel because it just has been stuttery out of the box, brand new. What you guys have seen on the channel is a brand new Intermountain SD40-2 that I purchased that had Loc Sound 5 installed. And I, to this day, can't get that thing to run flawlessly, even on brand new, cleaned Kato Unitrack. And I have taken this locomotive apart and cleaned it, and it just sometimes stutters, you know? So what do you do? you are left with really limited options if you want to have your cake and eat it too in regards to sound versus reliability. I have been a big fan of DC just for the sheer reliability. If even sometimes on sketchy track work, on locomotives that might have some scongy wheels, DC tends to work. And if a DC locomotive doesn't work, it's not a huge deal to troubleshoot it to figure out why. With a DCC locomotive, whether it's sound or control only, there's still that variable of electronics. You're not dealing with simple circuits and voltages and amperages and stuff like that. So what do? I mean, you either have sound or you don't. Okay, that's kind of a limited amount of options. Or is there a third option? Can you get the reliability of DC with some sounds? These are just for display. They both happen to be Bachmann, but they were just for discussion. I had that F unit out for cleaning and service, and this one is it belongs to my brother, and I need to repair it, which I haven't gotten around to yet because I had to get special tools. So back to the question, what do you do? I mean, and not to mention that DCC and sound locomotives tend to be 50 to 75% more money than a standard DC. Well, I found a solution of sorts. Well, not of sorts, it's actually a legit solution. And it's something that's been on my radar for quite a while. I just finally decided to pull the trigger and invest in it. And here's what I've come up with. You guys probably already know that this thing exists. This is a device made by Kato, our favorite people, as you know. Analog Sound Box. Okay, well, what's this? As you can tell, it's something that's predominantly marketed in the Japanese domestic market. So let me tell you what this is. It's a sound box. Surprise. You can tell by the pictures here, it's got a speaker, it's got some knobs, some buttons. Okay, we're with you. So what happens with this thing is, you take your standard Kato DC power pack, the blue one, the silver one, or not even necessarily a Kato brand. This will work with any standard DC power pack, or controller rather, but you have to make some considerations for wiring and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into that. That's beyond the scope of this. But basically, you plug your standard Kato controller into this thing. You put in a sound card. Okay. And this one, as you guys can see, EMD first generation deals with turbo. They have these for second gen and third gen EMDs. They have them for first gen EMD diesels without turbo. So like your roots blown prime movers, like your GP7s, 9s, 38s, and stuff like that. I'm trying to find one of those cards. I'm having trouble finding one because I think they only came bundled with certain sound boxes. If it comes down to it, I'll end up purchasing a whole new sound box with that card if that's the only way that I can get it. But that's not a problem per se. So they've got these for Alco. They've got these for the new GE stuff, ES44s. They've got these for light and heavy steam. They've got various cards for electric rail, like the Shinkansen and stuff like that over in Japan. There's a bunch of them. And you just slot that into the top right here, and it's almost as good as running DCC in sound, with the added reliability of DC, because you're still outputting a DC power, I was going to say signal, but you're still outputting DC power with the sweeping voltage to accelerate and decelerate and reverse, like you would if you were just running a standard DC train. And as far as the locomotives and your track and your stuff goes, it's DC power. All this is doing is taking the DC input from the controller, translating that with its internal circuitry to what it thinks the level of throttle you're looking for, and it outputs a level of sound that would be appropriate, of speed of prime mover. And you can dial in these things specifically. You can select via two of these knobs here how it ramps up, or even a delay, because you can build in momentum into this thing as well, where it'll slowly ramp down or ramp up the locomotive in relation to the prime mover. It's pretty cool, guys. So I've talked about this junk for 15 minutes. I'm not big on unboxings, but I'm gonna pull this thing out of the box here on camera just so you guys can see what you're getting into here. I got this off of Amazon. It came directly from Kato in Japan, I think. Right. As you can see, we've got instructions and some literature, Japanese and English. Got a cable here. I did have this out before to test it. That's why this is kind of uncoiled a little bit. And then our unit. I'll just tip this out off camera so you guys don't have to watch me fumble with it. And here's our box. As you can see, pretty simple. It's pretty light. It's not heavy. Here's our two ports on the side here for our sliding the Kato power pack on. It also has corresponding ports on the other side, so you can add on your turnout controls. You can even plug them in between the power pack and this, I think. Connecting it up is pretty simple. You connect the output of the Kato power pack to this green port here, and then this port goes to your track power. There's some other stuff you can do with this COM port. I've not messed with it. You can power this with its own 9-volt power supply, but it will run off of the power from your transformer. And the way this works, you take the little protective thing off the card here, and you insert there. So, what do you guys say I stop talking about this, I get it all set up, and we find out what this thing does and what it doesn't do? I'll see you guys soon. Okay guys, we have the executive portable switching layout set up. We have an MKT Atlas GP40-2. So old it's even got Rapido couplers still on it. DC, obviously. Got our Kato controller plugged into the side of our sound box. I have the AC adapter plugged into the controller. The output for track power going from the controller to the green plug on this box, and then the other plug going back down to the end where our track leads plugged in. So you have your sound card of choice loaded in, and you press the magic button. Volume. Cool, huh? Let's see if we can get all this in one shot here. Switching out a cut of cars. Hit your coupler. So apparently this MKT unit needs a little cleaning. This was part of that that mixed lot that I got. But yeah. It's also a little bit noisy. You can hear the motor noise from here. And to turn off the sounds, just hit the button. And like I said, you can use the start and the sync buttons here to play with this and change the prime mover ramp up and stuff. I've played with this with several of my DC locomotives. Most of them have performed more flawlessly than this thing. It probably just needs a cleaning. I should have done a will it run on it. Yeah, the wheels are a little scongy. Oh well. It's DC, so it's an easy fix, and that's the point. So the box, you can buy one with a card. They're more expensive. And I'm not sure which card it comes with. Like I said, I think it comes with the standard EMD non-turbo prime mover, which was also available at one point by itself, but I can't find it, so I'm still searching. Anyway, how much does this cost? Well, prices are going to vary depending on where you get it from and what you get with it. I was able to find this on Amazon for 160 bucks without the card. The cards themselves usually around the $30-ish mark. So to get up and running, you're bumping up close to $200 by the time it's all said and done, and that's if you already have one of these Kato power packs. $200 is no trivial amount of money, but that's as much as you'll spend on a single DCC and sound locomotive from retail, oftentimes. I mean, you may find them a tiny bit cheaper, 180 bucks, but I've paid as much as 250 bucks for a brand new DCC and sound locomotive. And that's just for a diesel. It's not even an expensive steam thing or a big boy. So I'm looking forward to really putting this thing through its paces. I might actually do a switching session and see how the momentum and things shake out. But with Christmas coming up, I wanted to put this out there as an option for you guys who might be hesitant to switch to DCC and sound, and honestly, rightfully so. To me, it's just too flaky. You guys have seen on my channel where DCC and sound stuff will stutter right out of the box, and that one intermountain unit, that SD40-2, just it really got me on the path of not liking N-scale DCC in sound for all of the reasons I talked about earlier. So this little piece of magic right here, oh, and it also has a line out. I don't know if I talked about that a second ago or not, but yeah, if you want to have it sound like there's a mixed freight coming through your living room, you know, plug that into the stereo hi-fi and turn up the bass and shake the paint off the walls with the sound of a EMD 16645 E3. Yeah, I'm into that. But yeah, volume control. You can turn it up and down. And you can even plug in a mic if you want to have like dispatcher sounds and stuff like that. But anyway, that's going to do it for this Trains with Shane episode. Not a Will It Run episode, although as this will run, but we're going to have to do some cleaning, obviously, to it. Clean the sponge off the wheels to get her running flawless like an old Atlas should. But anywho's, it is going to be probably November 25th when this video posts. It'll be Thanksgiving here in the States in a couple of days. It's been kind of a rough time for me, as most of you guys know. My whole situation with the girlfriend and all that happened earlier this year, and not having her and the boys around this year, especially during the holidays, has been pretty tough on me. I still haven't been able to find a new normal that I'm happy with. Haven't done a whole lot of train stuff. I've just been kind of in a funk. But I wanted to get this out here. There was some discussion on a Facebook group as to what these things did and how they worked. So I said, hey, I just got one of those. Let me put together a video for my next video on the channel. So this kind of has multiple effects. So Thanksgiving in the States coming up on Thursday. I am thankful for what I have. I don't struggle in my day-to-day life as far as having to worry about money and having a roof over my head. And I am thankful for that. I'm thankful for my family that I have, my mother, my brothers, my sister, many nieces and nephews, and an extended family who a lot of them live here in the area, whom I will see on Thursday. I am thankful for the support of you guys on the channel. I never thought that we would ever crest 1,000 subscribers, let alone 2,000. And if it weren't for you guys, I probably wouldn't have done a video since before April of this year. You guys keep me motivated and give me a reason. And that's important when you don't have the reasons you used to have in your life. So thank you guys for being that for me and the one or two women that are members of this channel. Thank you to both my Patreons, Computer Guy and Billy. The financial support definitely helps to keep this thing going. and at least offset some of the cost of doing all this. I wouldn't buy near as much as I do. Well, I say near as much. It helps. It helps keep the channel going. I wouldn't have as much content because doing will it runs and stuff 4 times a month isn't financially viable, given that, you know, a simple DC locomotive, even a used one that's over a decade old like this, can fetch near $100 in today's economy on eBay. So thank you guys for helping out to bring that to the channel. If you aren't a patron and you want to help thumb a couple dollars in, I would certainly appreciate it. A link in the description. Whenever I do a giveaway, the patrons also get their own separate giveaway. Get access to private chats and stuff with me, things like that. Meetups and what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, Billy and I actually met up at the train show, hung out, walked the whole thing, you know, had a good time. So, you know, if you guys want to help out, I would appreciate it. We also have YouTube channel memberships, or if you want to just donate a flat amount, a couple of dollars, there's a thanks button. And, every little bit in the coffers helps. And if you can't, I certainly understand. And around the holidays, things can get a little tight. Hopefully, some economic changes will come in with the new administration. Which way you voted doesn't really matter for the purposes of that discussion. Usually when there is an administration change, changes follow that, no matter what direction. So hopefully whatever changes that come in the new administration will help us out financially, get the fuel costs back down, get the cost of groceries back down. So what are you guys thankful for? Put it down in the comments. Tell me about what you do around the holidays. Do you get together with your loved ones? Do you hang out with friends? Do you have an office party, you know, that happens? Do you have just hang out with yourself and have a cold smoked turkey sandwich like I have had several times already this year? Yeah, let me know, guys. Talk to me. Let me know what you're doing for the holidays. If you have any recipes to share, you know, I know it's not train related specifically as such, but my mother makes the best cornbread stuffing on the planet. End of discussion. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. I might post a video of how she makes it. You know, let's just have some additional holiday fun. It doesn't have to necessarily involve trains. Swap recipes, you know, just do community stuff. So this video has gone on longer than they should. So again, guys, and the 2 women that may subscribe, thank you for everything. I look forward to wishing you guys a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving for my Americans. Canada has a Thanksgiving. I can't remember. I think it's a week or so later or earlier, maybe. I don't know. If you're up in the Great White North of Canada, let me know. Tell me what your favorite Canadian Pacific or Canadian National locomotive is. Do you like MLW locomotives? Do you like EMD, GE? Tell me about Thanksgiving up there and Boxing Day and all those cool things that I know very little about. Let's have a cultural exchange. But yeah, for my Americans, happy Thanksgiving. To the rest of the world, I also wish you a happy Thanksgiving because I celebrate it. I appreciate you all. Until the next time, stay safe. Don't eat too much turkey because then you'll want to sleep through the football. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.